Hello, this is Weekend File on the NTA. We are live in Abuja. The history of electricity generation in Nigeria started way back in 1896 when electricity with a 60 kVA capacity was generated in Lagos. 15 years after electricity was first produced in England. Surprised? Well, that is history. The question now is, more than 100 years later, what is the state of the power sector in Nigeria? What is the link between electricity supply and gas? Well, electricity in Nigeria is generated through thermal and hydropower sources. The main source is fossil fuel, especially gas, which is abundant in Nigeria. Yet, with these abundant energy resources, many of its residents can't access sufficient energy. Recent reports show that about 40% of Nigerians don't have access to electricity, and around 70% of households rely on firewood for their most basic needs like cooking, while 93,000 Nigerians die annually from smoke inhalation, a danger that topped discussions at the just concluded COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. The government, on its part, is trying to tackle its energy issues, particularly by focusing on renewable resources. It has built more gas power plants and increased the number of off-grid solar by system PV systems, which convert solar energy into electricity in rural areas. These interventions came after the Energy Commission of Nigeria conducted a number of research to ascertain the country's future energy demand and supply. Projections with priority to solving some of the challenges in an environmental sustainable way. So how has these efforts reflected in the provision of power, considering the frequent hike in tariff prices, price of prepaid meters, supply of gas to power plants, and hike in price of domestic gas, and what is being done to address it? This, my guest in the studio, will have answers to as we discuss energy, affordability, and matters arising. We have reports from our correspondents to push the conversation. I am Jumwa Yusuf. Thanks for joining us. First, let's get the feat recorded in recent times in different sectors of the Nigerian economy is an indication that there are possibilities and that the people are not facing an uncertain future without any tool at their disposal. Vice President Yomi El-Shibajo, who stated this at the graduation ceremony of Course 43 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, explained that the federal government adopted a strategic direction and policy orientation for a new age of accelerated growth. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi reports.
That strategic direction and policy orientation is embedded in the new National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. The new plan emphasizes value-added services which will lead to job creation.
The main fiscal challenge facing Nigeria is inadequate revenues, especially in the face of lower oil revenues.
The Vice President also restates the need to improve tax administration, rigorously collect revenue due to the federal government, and bring all to the federal budget.
Only 142 who pay self-assessed tax of more than 10 million naira. I'm not talking about companies, I'm talking about individuals. 90% of them are from Lagos State. 90%. So in this whole country, with people who have Rolls Royces, have big cars, have all sorts, only that tiny fraction pay 10 million in assessed taxes. Everybody else claims to earn never enough to be able to pay that kind of money. So we need to be more aggressive about tax collection, especially tax collection from those who certainly have the resources.
Described as the nation's think tank, 85 of them drawn from various backgrounds and given the task by the president through the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies on getting things done, strategies for policy and program implementation in Nigeria. The vice president congratulates them for a thought-provoking research work presented to the president.
Every MNI belongs to an elite club of thought leaders of Nigeria. You are in the front lines of our efforts to build a better future for our country. You must be the first promoters of Nigeria's unity. The seminal policy work that you produced here, which you submitted to Mr. President, shows clearly what can be done where the best Nigerian minds, regardless of ethnicity or religion, work together for the good of our nation and its peoples. And I think that we demonstrate here every year with the graduates of this college, the members of the National Institute, that it is possible for our country to be united, for people to work together for the common good of our people and our nation.
End of the course, Your Excellency, I'm proud and happy to report that the participants have been well equipped through rigorous and intense research and training processes to contribute to Nigeria's government strategic plans and actions towards getting things done in their different roles and capacities.
It has always been difficult to move into plateau. Before I became governor, that was always the cry when you nominate people to come to the institute. That time it was all crisis in plateau. But today, Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, that's not the case. It is now fight on who to get nomination to come to JOS.
So far, 2,275 graduates have been produced by the Institute in 43 sessions. From the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, JOS, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has described Wole Olanipekun, senior advocate of Nigeria, as one of Nigeria's most consequential constitutional lawyers, given his contribution to the nation's legal jurisprudence. He stated this at the second edition of the Wole Olanipekun Co-Justice Summit in Lagos. The report.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who chaired the event, commended the jurist for deploying the proceeds of his sweat into improving the well-being of the less privileged.
His disarming wit and humor, and his sometimes lyrical and poetic submissions, quoting from the classics and the scriptures, make him easily one of the most outstanding minds in the legal profession in this or any other generation.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu also showered encomium on the septuagenarian.
Is indeed a detribalized Nigeria.
The summit, which has as its theme implementing justice sector reforms, coincided with the 70th birthday of Wole Olanipekun. The event had in attendance distinguished and reputable individuals providing practical ways to build sustainable, trusted, and adaptable justice delivery mechanism.
To give legitimacy to justice, accountability for the action of every role actor within the sector is critical.
Wole Olanipekun, who has led legal teams in many landmark cases, including President Muhammadu Buhari's defense team at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on the outcome of the 2019 presidential election, is a former Attorney General of the old Ondo State. He was called to the bar in 1976 and awarded the rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria in July 1991. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede Ogunfowera, NTA News.
It was Wole Olanipekun and Co-Justice Summit in Lagos. In other news, the Progressive Governors Forum has called for tolerance and understanding among members of the APC. Emmanuel Akile reports that the governors made the call in Gombe while sympathizing with the people and government of the state over the violent clash between youth groups in Gombe.
The Progressive Governors, represented by the governors of Katsina and Jigawa states, who sympathize with the families of the deceased, the government, and the entire people of Gombe state, condemn violence in all forms, not only among the youths, but also among members of the APC and all politicians for whatever reasons.
We are all working at various levels, and I'm sure the governor is doing the best he can to make sure that whatever happens is properly investigated, and where action is required, action will be taken.
Governor Muhammad Ino Yahaya appreciates the show of love and brotherhood of the Progressive Governors, believing it would be an encouragement in the prevention of misunderstanding that could lead to conflict.
We are all out to serve the people, and without peace and tranquility, we cannot serve people. And that is what we promise, and we sworn by the Quran that we shall maintain peace at whatever cost, in the society. And that is what we are doing. So we thank and appreciate them for their visit, and we pray that God, in His infinite mercy, will keep us in peace.
The progressive governors advised that youth should not allow themselves to be used for selfish political interest. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
The Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, is advocating the expansion of the democratic space to accommodate more young people in governance. It was in an address at the National Children's Dialogue to mark the 2021 Universal Children's Day in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The National Children's Dialogue, with the theme Nigerian Child and the National Unity Project, provided a platform for the Speaker to further stress his support for direct primaries, is captured in the amended Electoral Act transmitted to the President for his assent. The provision, he says, gives equal chance to youths with leadership qualities to become candidates for an elective office.
The young men and women of Nigeria, who I have just said, have the capacity and the potential to attain greatness. Surely, the enabling environment must be created for them. How does this tie into the parties of the primaries of parties? It means that a young man with bold ideas, with ideas that look into the future, can actually say, listen, I want to run for the state assembly. I want to be the governor of this state. These are my ideas. Give me the opportunity. That opportunity is created by direct primaries, not by indirect primaries.
Gbajabiamila also emphasized the need to ensure peace and security and also build the education sector for the well-being of the future generation. The Children of Africa Leadership and Values Development Initiative used the events to unveil publications to enlighten children on the Constitution and Child's Rights Act.
It is for us to create a platform for children to be involved in discussing matters that affect them.
The government recognized the children and decided to award them and celebrate them today because we're the leaders of tomorrow.
I want to inspire children, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds.
The events attracted children from various schools and other organizations. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government is poised to promote the survival, protection, development and participation of the Nigerian child in national development in view of the complexities caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. This was central at the commemoration of this year's Universal Day of the Child, marked in Abuja. Momso Damien Deti reports.
COVID-19, a lot of children have suffered. They are born through hunger and suffering, and some of them are born through abuse. So this village was to show how different organizations or different people in the society can come together to remove the effect of COVID-19 on children.
School for the Gifted Gwagwalada is the choice of the Ministry of Women Affairs to mark this year's Universal Day of the Child. The message of the minister is conveyed.
The theme of this year's celebration is Unite to Reverse the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic on Children. This year's celebration is not just a tradition, but a concrete step that must be taken to promote the survival, protection, development, and participation of the Nigerian child.
Issues of hygiene, sanitation, drug abuse, mental health, and unity against violence comes handy.
Also receive our own share.
I just realized that mental health doesn't necessarily denote being mad or something. It just has to do with the well-being of your mind, ability to control your emotions, control stress, your ability to make the right decisions, to be productive, and your impact on others. So
as a nation, when we show concern to our future in terms of those people who are going to take leadership positions, it means our future is great. It's going to boost my morale to try to see ways I can make valid contributions to the development of Nigeria as a whole and to my immediate community.
Our mantra is to leave no one behind as we realize the 2030 global goal.
November 20 annually has been adopted by the United Nations to celebrate the child in every corner of the globe with a view to improving their welfare. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has received her Burundian counterpart, Angeline Ndayabaha, who arrived in Nigeria this Saturday ahead of the 9th General Assembly of the African First Ladies Peace Mission, coming up on Monday, the 22nd of November. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
The First Lady of Burundi, Angeline Ndayabaha, arrived at State House, Abuja, and was accorded a warm welcome by the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari. Mrs. Buhari, who welcomed the visiting First Lady, said the spouses of the African president and heads of government are keen to reactivating the African First Ladies Peace Mission, which has not been active for some time. She hosted her counterpart for an interactions which centered on the way forward towards the development of women and children in Africa, particularly their possible contribution through the African First Ladies Peace Mission.
The First Lady of Burundi is in Nigeria to attend the 9th Summit of African First Ladies Peace Mission, which has not been active for quite a while, and we all came together and I decided that we should revive it and also give our own contribution as women, as mothers, towards the development and peace coexistence in Africa.
I'm pleased to meet my sister here, and we come to visit this nice country. We come to participate in the Mi Prada because the women of Africa.
More African First Ladies and other delegates from across the continent are expected in the country for the program. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Ekiti State has emerged the overall winner at the 2021 edition of the National Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged Ekiti NAFES 2021. Ayodeji Ogunshakin reports that Lagos State will host the 2022 edition.
Just a week full of interesting activities by participating states from across the country towards promoting culture, traditions and unity in diversity in Nigeria as a nation. The closing ceremony was a memorable one where various states showcased their cultures. The Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Segun Runshewe, said it is an affirmation that what unites us as a nation are more than what divides us.
Is to tell us that nothing can divide this country. The unity of this country will remain.
The State Governor, Dr. Kawadi Fahimi, affirmed that NAFES has further confirmed that the nation as an entity can only survive through love and unity, which the founding fathers stood for.
Diversity is necessary, and unity will work together to show the love to the nation.
Ekiti State emerged the overall winner. Rivers second position, while Bayelsa and Benue State jointly won the third place. Prizes and certificates were presented to states that won different categories of the competitions, while Lagos State will host the next edition in the year 2022.
It's a means to an end. The end is economic growth. We should all support NAFES. It is indeed a festival that unites the nation.
So, and this NAFES is one NAFES that brings the nation together, and so we're very happy.
It is for the purpose of development of Nigeria. We have to move together to achieve development in Nigeria.
31 states participated at this year's edition of NAFES. From Adwekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshakin, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. When we return, more reports coming your way, and of course our conversation. Don't go away.
You stumble into an opportunity at your own convenience.
Abwad holds 9th convocation. Sunday, 21st November 2021, the climax of a week-long activities of Abwad 12th Founders Day celebration beginning from 16th November. Saturday, 28th November, 11 a.m. Convocation lecture by TED Fund Executive Secretary Professor Suleiman Elias Bogoro and the commissioning of 4 completed projects, including Suleiman Bogoro Research Center.
Founders Dinner and Awards Night will follow.
21st November, 10 a.m. prompt. Convocation of Abuja 9th set of students.
3 frontline traditional rulers and Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum will receive honorary awards.
Join Abuja to celebrate its 12th anniversary of evolutionary milestones. Abuja, a vision in action.
The Town Hall meeting on the Petroleum Industry Act, earlier scheduled for Thursday, 25th November 2021, has now been postponed. A new date will be announced later. All inconveniences are highly regretted. Announcer Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture.
You don't wait for life. You go to meet life. It's not about how many chances you get. It's what you do with what you've got. Cup after cup. Morning after morning. Start strong. Finish strong. It all starts with a Nescafe.
There is a saying that Christmas is what you make of it. At Bedmate Furniture, we enjoy making your Christmas comfortable and exciting with the furniture we provide you. That's why from 1st November to 18 December 2021, Bedmate offers you and your loved ones amazing luxury furniture your home loves and truly needs at up to 70% discount. You also stand a chance to win fridges, TVs, washing machines, and many more as we keep making your living better through the furniture you love.
How to make a perfect bowl of love? A perfect blend of taste that brings every ingredient to life. The fusion of different spices. The unique aroma that rejuvenates your senses. The heartwarming deliciousness. And the satisfaction that comes from every bite, which makes you say, I love my Indomie.
When you hear the sound of credit alert, we can easy transfer, say we want to serve you better. No be play, we go turn your business around. We are Fidelity Bank. We are Fidelity Bank. Sure you be the person we want relax. Save your money, your girl, we dey serve, we no dey tire. Say now your future be our concern. At Fidelity Bank. We are
You're welcome to Weekend File and to the discussion segment of the program. But first, let's take reports from our correspondent. The last 6 years have been eventful in the power sector as federal government sustains interventions to improve performance of 11 distribution companies to deliver affordable and reliable electricity to end users in the country. Joshua Ojuto tells us more.
From NEPA to PHCN, then GENCOs, DISCOs and TCN, near stable power supply still battle to be won. A battle handed down from one leader to another. President Muhammadu Buhari currently leading the war front as it were. At the center are liquidity crisis and decaying transmission infrastructure. In order not to pile up the burden, federal government steps in to close the financial liquidity of 4 trillion naira. Industry records show that federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria launched intervention funds that include Power and Aviation Fund of 300 billion naira, Nigerian Electricity Market Stabilization Facility of 213 billion naira, while 140 billion naira solar connection intervention facility was also provided to give lifeline to the sector. 600 billion naira tariff shortfall intervention, 120 billion naira for mass metering, and 600 billion naira to bridge shortfall in the payment of monthly invoices, as well as 701 billion naira as power assurance guarantee are additional interventions to improve performance of players across the value chain.
No government in the past have demonstrated the heights of commitment, sincerity of purpose, and good, genuine desire to bring about a change that Mr. President has demonstrated.
However, with 1.3 trillion naira so far injected into the sector in the last 6 years, electricity customers groan over inadequate supply in the midst of frequent hike in tariff.
We doesn't see light, and they keep bringing bill to us.
Electricity customers are hopeful that the interventions will reflect in the bulbs. Joshua Ochitu, NTA News.
The federal government's intervention fund for local manufacturers of prepaid meters, some key players in the power sector say, has helped in increasing distribution to end users. The initiative is also creating job opportunities for Nigerians. Kehinde Adebisi has details.
In 2020, the federal government began the National Mass Metering Program, an initiative geared towards mass metering of Nigerians. It provides loans to distribution companies for procurement of meters and also for local manufacturers. Through this intervention, over 1 million meters have been installed across the country.
The local manufacturers are having access to the intervention funds being provided by the federal government. Yes, in fact, it is a very good initiative, and it is commendable.
We believe in metering. It is in our interest at DISCOs for people to be metered, and we do all we can to ensure that this happens.
Availability of power is said to be the driving force behind a popular city like Lagos, the commercial nerve center of the nation. Giving impetus to businesses to exist, survive, and prosper, informed the nationwide metering for electricity consumers, an initiative of President Muhammadu Buhari to check estimated billings. How well has Lagosians benefited from this order?
Do you have a prepaid meter?
No, I've applied, but I don't. They've not given me.
What did they say?
They say it's not available.
In fact, the electricity is good, and then the development they improve.
The oil and gas sector also contributes to power generation across the country. What is the implication of this?
This year alone, there's 12% increase of general gas from the producing companies, But the fact remains that, there remains contending forces, that are in need of these gas.
Over 4 million Nigerians are expected to benefit from the second phase of the mass metering set to begin later in the year. Kehinde Adebisi, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to discuss energy affordability in Nigeria is my guest, Oyebode Fadipe, Head of Corporate Communications, AEDC. You're welcome to Weekend Friday.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Let's begin. Tell us the situation of the power sector in Nigeria, briefly.
Well, the situation is improving. We have not gotten to where we want to be. I know that quite a number of people will feel a bit skeptical about that, but the truth of the matter is that compared to where we were before and where we are today, there has been a major leap from what it used to be. So it's certainly not as it was, but it's certainly not as customers would want it to be. So there has been an improvement.
Is the improvement based on the interventions by the Central Bank of Nigeria to the power sector in the in the area of 1.3 trillion naira? That's a huge amount.
It's a combination of so many things. Federal government has been magnanimous enough. I saw Kunle trying to make some positive comments about federal government, and I think it's correct. The DISCOs themselves have also done a lot of improvement. I know that going around the entire DISCO, I have certain data at my disposal. Going around the entire DISCO, there is no one of them that has not invested, that has not grown the business up to about 100%. There's no one of them that has not grown the business since privatization in 2013 up till date. There's no one of them that has not grown the business up to about 100%. In some instances, 200, 300%.
No country can survive without electricity because business, is, based on that. Yes. Let's talk about the burning issue that most Nigerians would like to talk about, and that is the increase in tariff and price of meter across the country. Okay. It's a lot of confusion going out there. Can you give us the facts?
No, I don't know where the confusion is coming from.
From the end users, because they say the tariff is too high and it's been increased,
now,
you know.
You see, what I've always come across is tariff is too high, but nobody looks at what cost of production is. Nobody looks at the macroeconomic factors that also drive the supply of electricity. These are issues that we also must take into consideration before we come to the conclusion that tariff is too high. Yes, the economic situation in the country, and not just the country alone, but globally, it's a major source of concern for people, particularly because we are just beginning to recover gradually from the debilitating effect of the COVID-19. But even at that, people must also understand the fact that the discos themselves, or the entire power sector, which is made up of the value chain, do not exist outside of this of the Nigerian economy. We operate within this economy. We buy gas from this economy. We buy cars from this economy to run the business. We employ people from this economy to run the business. We pay overheads from this economy to run the business. We don't get funding from any other place outside of this economy. So we are subjected, and we respond to the economic factors that drive this particular environment.
Yes, but you have had interventions from government, like government is planning to spend like $3 billion in the next 24 months and will end subsidy by December 2021. A lot of consumers are worried.
About what? It's not whatever intervention government is doing is not free. Whatever intervention the money comes to discos, yes, there are interventions, but it's not free. They still pay back. So let it not be seen as if government is just going to its own till, take the money and give to discos, and then deny other sectors of the economy the opportunity to use that same fund. No, that's not the way it operates. This money comes to them, yes, but it also goes back to government because it's an intervention fund that is a loan facility that must be paid back. And guess what? It is paid back as a first line charge. It's paid back as a first line charge. So before any disco has access to its own money, they remove whatever percentage that is supposed to remove at every point in time. So it's not free of charge.
Okay, finally, what time do you have, to end estimated billing in Nigeria?
Now, the issue of estimated billing is not going to come like a bullet. It's going to take a while until you can talk about crashing metering in the country. It will still continue to be there. The reason being that the only way by which you can stop it is when you are finished metering all customers. And guess what? You are not going to finish metering all customers because everyday properties come up. People demand for meter every day. What we are pursuing is a situation where we can close the metering gap in such a way that you can say, okay, I have just about 5,000 customers that I want to meter. Unlike the current situation where a disco can say, I have about 100,000, I have about 200,000. For instance, government is saying that the next phase of the mass metering program is going to consume 4 million meters all over the country. That's huge. But when you can now bring in those 4 million meters and inject them into the system, you can then say, yes, we have come to a point where the anxiety about meter is no longer there, and then you can just walk into the office of any disco and say, okay, get me a meter, and then you can fix it within a very short period.
That easy. Oyebode Fadipe is the GM Corporate Communications AEDC. Thank you so much for your time on Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break now. When we return, our conversation will continue. Don't go away.
Oh, there will be unlimited joy in over 5,000 homes every day this season in the Glow Joy Unlimited Extravaganza. 5 cars every month, 100 generators, TVs, and fridges every week. 5,000 free airtime and data winners every day. Simply recharge up to 500 Naira during the week to qualify. Dial *611# now to enter the Glow Joy Unlimited Extravaganza.
There There's a saying that Christmas is what you make of it. At Bed-Made Furniture, we enjoy making your Christmas comfortable and exciting with the furniture we provide you. That's why from 1st November to 18 December 2021, Bed-Mates offers you and your loved ones amazing luxury furniture your home loves and truly needs at up to 70% discount. You also stand a chance to win fridges, TVs, washing machines, and many more as we keep making your living better through the furniture you love.
Me and you, let's get to Ghana. Hey! Right, jump.
This is Ghana. You've come here to seek for greener pastures. Make it your worthwhile.
Any guinea fowl you see, say Guinea. Guinea fowl has nothing to do with Guinea. It's just the name of the fowl. So Ghana jollof, what is it? Is it Nigerian beans? What? Have we made before?
No.
Jasper! Help me!
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Outcome of Durban-Paris Trade and Investment Fora is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live next week. Join us at 10:30 p.m. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative.
Thanks for joining us. Let's take more reports before we continue with our conversation with my new guest. With their warnings about the impending dangers of climate change clouding the headlines on a daily basis, energy transition from fossil fuel to renewables is a hot topic. The question is, with Nigeria's huge natural gas potential, is it time for Nigeria to do away with gas or time to harness the nation's huge natural gas for energy security? Let's get the details from Lydia Sampson.
It is not an exaggeration to say energy poverty is one of Africa's continent's most pressing problems. The threat of climate change is real, and the goal of lessening it is noble. But what is often forgotten in the discussions of phasing out fossil fuel key players are the repercussions of a rapid shift from fossil fuel, particularly in developing nations like Nigeria. This is because the struggle to provide the citizens reliable and sustainable cleaner energy, both for cooking and industrial use, is still a challenge.
Price increase every day and it has not been easy.
We buy the 50 kg 31,000. But today they are telling me this 34,000 naira. So just every day, I think every day, almost every day, the price of gas is moving.
Government is proactively coming up with policies to diversify the energy mix, including harnessing the abundance of sunlight for solar energy and other renewables, while encouraging gas utilization through projects like the AKK gas pipelines, the Auto Gas Initiative, and also the MPDC Integrated Gas Handling Facility and liquefied petroleum gas storage and dispensing plants inaugurated at Oredo, Edo State, would support efforts at eliminating flared gas while processing over 200 million standard cubic feet of lean gas to the domestic market per day.
Really care about the Nigerian. So we have to really look at all these possibilities of how to at least alleviate the pains and the problems that this increase that might be occasioned by the regulation will bring. We have to jointly ensure that we are able to come up with a workable way of making this happen.
We are here for a single purpose,
And we are here to lead so that we make sure that this company and this department work for the Nigerian people.
It is in the light of this that experts advocate continued natural gas production, gas to power initiatives, stressing that these are practical ways to address energy poverty and that it is not time to pressure the African countries to abandon them. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio is Idris Yaya Abubakar, and he is the head gas and monetary regulations. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's talk about renewable energy and gas, usage of gas in Nigeria. They say it's the bridging fuel that will help developing countries transition to renewable energy. Let's have your take on that.
Thank you again for having me. Harnessing gas resources has opened a potential for the next phase of energy transition. Historically, if you look at the country, what had been happening before was we produce and we flare. But we also know that crude oil and coal are not environmentally friendly. They have their own, environmental, hazards. But when you look at gas, gas is not renewable, just like coal and crude oil, but environmentally it has advantages over that of coal and crude oil. And of course, what are those advantages? The advantages are you can use it, it's environmentally friendly, is also a feedstock for like petrochemicals, it is abundant in supply, and you are sure of continuing to use it for as long as you have it. And of course, Nigeria is a very rich, country.
It's a gas nation.
Yes, it's gas nation. We have proven gas, reserve of 206 TCF.
So, what are the identified ways of meeting Nigeria's energy demands, at minimal cost and low carbon emission? Because at COP26, it stopped discussion on how to stop flaring of gas emission. Nigeria is saying to 2050, some are saying 2070. So how can we have gas at a minimal cost for Nigerians?
Now we have to look at it broadly. And what I mean by that is that, so now we have a country that is endowed with a lot of natural gas resources, but have we been able to harness it? That is the issue. And if we're able to harness that, then we should be able to manage the transition to the renewable energy or non-renewable energy. But for a country that has a lot of gas, I think we should not focus so much on renewable energy, because the gas that we have is as good for us to use as the renewable energy sources.
As a connection to power supply in the country, where are we?
We're on top of it. The AKK, like I think your colleague just mentioned, is very much on track. And of course, we are putting a lot of enablers in place so that the power sector, the industries, the whatever you will be able to make use of that, and the economy will kickstart very soon. Let's
look at the issue on the hike in price of petroleum, liquefied petroleum gas. It's quite expensive. The hike is just skyrocketing every day. What is the way out?
Well, we have to look at it globally, and we ought to look at it at our level. I mean, at the national level. The price of gas has increased globally. Why? Because the price of crude oil has also gone high. We all know that a barrel of oil is going for about $70-something per barrel. So we know that from the crude oil you can get your gas like the LPG. So if the oil costs so much, then you expect the gas that is as a derivative coming out of crude oil to also go up. There is also the energy demand. There is high energy demand in Europe right now. There is also the disruption of supply, because we know Russia is a major supplier of gas in Europe. So there are disruptions in Europe because of the supply that we're having, the supply challenges from Russia. That is one. Then of course we have to look at the foreign exchange. How much of the dollar are we exchanging in terms of naira to buy the gas that we buy from outside? Then of course you need to come back again in terms of the supply chain, which is weak. What am I talking about? We are looking at when you are to do the haulage from Lagos or from Calabar, and you're bringing it up to Abuja. How much is a liter of diesel? I think a liter of diesel right now is about 345 naira. So by the time you put all this together, you begin to see that, yes, the price is up, but I think we're on top of it. We're going to do something.
In 30 seconds before you go, why are Nigerians not aware of just what you just told me? So that they can, condition themselves to the situation in 30 seconds.
I want to believe Nigeria are the most enlightened, people that we have. And I think they are also aware. It's not like we are not aware of what I just said. The demand in, supply in Europe is high. The price of crude oil is also high. Then, of course, we all know, like the diesel, which is one of the major sources of what we use in transportation, is deregulated. And the price of the diesel is like, just I said, 345 naira.
Idris Yaya Abubakar, Head Gas and Monetary Regulations, thank you so much for coming on Weekend File.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Now let's take a break. When we return, more stories coming your way. Don't go away.
Did you hear the super exciting news?
What have you heard?
GoTV's going super.
Are you serious?
Bringing new channels with super awesome novellas, super duper kid shows,
All right.
and super slamming WWE 24/7. All at the super cool price of 5,500 naira.
Good.
Get GoTV's brand new package. GoTV Super.
1.5 years or so since the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen massive changes in the way we do things at NPH-CDA. Working with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, we were able to actually roll out in the first couple of weeks a massive community-based program that looked at how we could quickly mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 in the communities. So we rolled out a training that involved over 220,000 primary healthcare workers all across Nigeria. We're seeing how we've been able to now achieve pre-COVID levels in terms of the routine immunization services. That is really, really impressive, and really my heart goes out to all of the primary healthcare workers. They've done such an amazing job, along of course with all of the health workers that have been in the front line.
Welcome back. This is NTA Network News. International Breweries continues its support for Nigerian football development with an exhibition match at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos. Samuel Johnson completes the story.
The exhibition match featured former Chelsea captain and English football icon John Terry and Brazilian star and La Liga player Roberto Carlos. While John Terry led the Kings FC, Roberto Carlos was captain of Smooth FC in dark jerseys. After a 90-minute goalless regulation time, the match was settled on penalties, with Smooth FC showing supremacy by 4-2. The sponsors expressed satisfaction, while other stakeholders see the new partnership as dispensation of hope for the development of football in Nigeria.
It's pretty impressive. It's been a cracker.
Reality is that of all the sports we play in Nigeria, football is the biggest for us. And I see that a few years from now, this is going to be the standard. It can only get better than this.
What I've seen so far is one of the best of its kind, and I'm highly delighted.
Everyone is excited, the stadium is filled up, and they all cheered up, get up, and you're all here today to have fun.
Trophies and other prizes were given to players. Some Nigerian artists also added color to the event. In Lagos, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
And for more on sports, let's join Abdullah Ajia. Hello, Abdullah.
Hello, Jumai. Thank you. Let's start with bits on golf. A 5-day clinic on developing critical skills and knowledge for business in the golf industry has ended in Abuja with a charge from international referee Edwin Osuho to stakeholders to take advantage of the business aspects of golf to further improve the sporting sector.
Aspect of golf, how you can use it to get into commercial life,
And I went into the tournaments, how they can get sponsors, get corporate organizations to come and sponsor tournaments.
We believe that it has opened our eyes. It kind of created more awareness that people would like to key into it, because there is nothing else. I mean, we've never had this kind of thing before, and people really want to know about this game. People want to key into the industry, but they don't have the access. They don't know how to.
Moving on to hockey, Plateau Queens, one of the female hockey teams for this year's African Cup for Club Hockey Championship, have arrived Ghana ahead of their opening game against Ghana Revenue Authority on Wednesday. Ocheng Bede, who spoke with the players before they departed, reports that the team is in high spirit as they look forward to making the country proud in Ghana. 4 teams comprising 2 female and 2 male will represent Nigeria in this year's event, scheduled from the 24th to 30th November 2021.
In them, we are proud we are going to make Plateau State proud and the Nigeria itself.
By our preparation, as you can see our faces, you see that everybody is in shape. That we are going to make the country proud.
In the English Premier League, matches played this Saturday. Despite missing 2 penalties in the first half, Watford pulled off a grand upset, defeating struggling Manchester United 4-1, putting more pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and extending the Red Devils' woeful run of recent form. In other result, Chelsea in the early kick-off beat Leicester City 3-0 as the game between Wolves and West Ham United, which was live on the NTA, so Wolves taken a narrow 1-0 win against West Ham at home. Despite being La Liga's lowest scoring side, it was Alaves who opened scoring in their game away to Sevilla, which ended 2-2. Villarreal were denied their first away win of the season after a late error gifted Celta Vigo an equalizer in a tight 1-1 draw. The game between Atletico Madrid and Osasuna, which was live on the NTA, ended 1-0 for the home team.
Well, so much on the football stage. Thank you so much, Ajaya, for coming on Network News. The remains of late chieftain Joseph Dean has been laid to rest in his hometown, Pushit, in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. Late Joseph Dean, on his death on the 30th of October 2021, was a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in the state and a close ally of President Muhammadu Buhari. Zenred Dingmon reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, said the late Captain Dean was passionate about the peace and unity of Nigeria and was always ready to lend a hand for a worthy cause.
He was a friend and worthy confidant of our President Muhammadu Buhari, who described him as a trusted and worthy ally of many years. The reason I'm sure is that he described him as such is because he always gave objective and balanced and fearless advice. The president was his friend, but he was never afraid to tell him the truth, and he did on many occasions, both privately, I'm sure, and even publicly. Nigeria will miss a true patriot, a man who loved his family with a passion, and all his children will attest to that.
For us, he was not only a politician, he was not only very close to us, and before his demise, up to now, he remains the chairman of the Elders Forum of APC in Plateau State.
I, the children, and the relations will miss him greatly.
The remains of late Captain Dean was interred at his hometown, Pushit district in Mangu local government area of Plateau State, as testimonies of his life and times flowed in.
And former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was in Kano to condole with the government and people of the state over the passing away of renowned industrialist Alhaji Sani Dangote. While in Kano, the APC national leader visited the elder brother of the deceased, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, at his residence. Abdullahi Mustafa has the report.
Although he is not in Kano for a political engagement, the APC national leader arrived the ancient city to a rousing welcome. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was received at the Malam Amini Kano International Airport by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, members of the State Executive Council, and party stalwarts. He came to condole with the government and people of Kano over the passing away of an industrialist, Alhaji Sani Dangote. After visiting the leader of the Dantata family, Alhaji Aminu Dantata, and the deceased mother, Haji Maria Sanusi, proceeded to the residence of Alhaji Aliko Dangote. As a family that contributes to the Nigeria's economy, Tinubu stated, it is necessary to share with them the grief of Sani Dangote's exit.
What we've come to do is join in prayers for you, for the people of Kano State, for Nigeria, and entire family.
So we will now, it is a lesson for us to now do good and to continue to do better. So we thank the Almighty Allah for what He has done to us. It was a great blessing.
In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, has condoled with the former Zonal Director, NTA Jos Network Center, Christy Obat, over the death of her husband, Reverend Enefiok Obat. The Director General led the NTA management staff to visit wife of the deceased in Abak. The Kelvin Samuel reports.
The Director General, represented by the General Manager NTA Uyo, Ohifeme Aibochie, while condoling with the family of the late Reverend Enefiok Obat for the great loss, encouraged the family to strive to maintain the good legacies the clergyman left behind.
It's not easy to love a loved one, to miss a loved one, especially somebody you have shared almost the greater part of your life with. I think, but from the records available, I think your husband, you should be well consoled, or you should take solace in the fact that your husband has lived a very fulfilled life.
Appreciating the NTA family for the gesture, wife of the late Reverend Obat, a former zonal director in the NTA and former commissioner for information in Akwa Ibom State, Christiana Obat says, though the family is saddened by the demise of her husband, they are, however, trusting God for the strength to bear the irreplaceable loss.
How delighted I am to have you around. It goes to show that that NTA spirit is still there. It goes to show that we are still together, even though some of us have bowed out of the system.
The remains of the late Reverend Enefiok Obat, who died at the age of 79, will be laid to rest on Saturday, the 27th day of November 2021 at his country home in Abak local government area of Akwa Ibom State. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
And that's Weekend File. But before we go, don't forget to join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I am Juma Yusuf.